presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Black Hawks. We are Florida.
Welcome into downtown Miami, where the Marlins and the Rockies are finishing off a four-gamer. And the Marlins with an opportunity to do something that is rare in baseball, and that is sweep a four-game series. Roof shut, windows closed, AC on, and Jeff Conine by my side. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz, along with Jeff Conine. You don't get an opportunity to sweep a four-game series. Marlins got that opportunity early this year and did that in Los Angeles.
Yeah, it is a very rare feat to do a four-game sweep here, and it's especially this wraparound series in Monday. You got another one coming up against the Cubs next weekend, so kind of an odd schedule working right now.
A lot to like for a ball club that's won 5 of 6. And in this series in particular, the long ball's been big. Marlins are getting some runs with some big hits and home runs. But if you look closely at the box score, you see a bullpen that has been worked often and has been terrific. The bullpen itself has accounted for a lot of these wins.
I mean, it's been absolutely remarkable what they've done in this series alone. Look at the last 7 games, 80 at-bats. They've only given up 6 hits, 25 innings pitched, and only 1 earned run. That is the reason why the Marlins are winning right now.
The only alarming thing there is the number of innings pitched in those 7 games. That means the bullpen has been worked, and everybody might not be available tonight. And that means Paul Clemens, who makes his Marlins debut, the Fish want him to get deep. What are we to expect of a guy that's just up from AAA?
Well, just that. I mean, he's just up from AAA, so you're not going to expect you want to hopefully expect a deep game and hit the Rockies and keep them what the rest of the pitching staff has done. I don't know what we're going to get out of him tonight. Hopefully it's 6+ innings, because in this series alone, the bullpen has worked 13 innings and the starters have only worked 14 innings.
Wow. All right, other side of the coin, Jorge De La Rosa had a miserable start of the season, but lately he's been pretty good, and this is a guy with a very nice track record.
Yeah, they took him out of the rotation in May because he was doing so poorly. Did a couple of mechanical tweaks to his delivery and been in the bullpen the last 4 appearances, and it looks like he's throwing the ball a lot better than he was early.
Big opportunity for the Marlins to sweep a 4-gamer against the Colorado Rockies, and a big opportunity for that man, Paul Clemens. We'll hear from him on his start when we get back. do some baseball. Let's go out to center field with Preston Wilson and Craig Minervini. Guys?
All right, thank you very much, Rich, and good evening again, everybody. The focus will be on Paul Clemens, the guy you just saw right there. The Marlins have called him up from AAA New Orleans, where he did well this year with 6-4.
Well, he's done well, and I think he feels comfortable. He's with a team that when they saw him in November, they wanted him to be a starter, and it's really nice when someone accepts you and it's the thing that you want to do the most. I think it's been a good fit so far.
14 starts in New Orleans, a 4.30 ERA, has been in the big leagues before with Houston. We had a chance to talk with him about tonight.
Still a process. I'm still working on a couple of things. You know, just trying to get better every day. But, you know, I like where I'm at with 3 pitches right now and where my mindset is when I step on the mound. So, you know, we put those together, and I think we can do some damage.
News of the call-up, when did it happen?
Yesterday night, late last night. So.
Home or?
Oh, yeah, we were in New Orleans. So got the call and, you know, tried to get a few hours of sleep and hop on a 6 a.m. flight.
The big thing about Clemens' situation is nobody's asking here to come here and win the game. They're just asking, hey, keep us close. Keep your composure. Don't get too rattled out there. Breathe. You got a good team behind you. You can throw strikes. This is a big ballpark. You can make mistakes, and good things can still happen for you.
Only 6th Major League start, early important?
Yes, definitely.
Keep the eye on Clemens coming out of the gate here for the Marlins as they have a shot at a 4-game sweep with Jose tomorrow night and the Braves in for 2 before we see those big bad Cubbies this coming weekend. Rockies and the Marlins. It's Game 4 next on Fox Sports Florida. Enjoy it.
Sports Florida is brought to you by Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. By your local Toyota dealer. Let's go places. By Southwest, transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. And by Subaru of Pembroke Pines. Price, service, selection. You're gonna love us. Fish and Rockies. And Jose, a little good luck hug. Got a smile out of Paul Clemens as he makes his Marlins debut. And this is the lineup he faces. This is not for the faint of heart. The Rockies have some good bats. They're brought to you by UHealth Sports Medicine.
They do have some good bats, but they've been quieted so far in this series. Center field, Charlie Blackmon leading off. DJ LeMahieu at second base. Third base, Nolan Arenado. Right field, Carlos Gonzalez. Shortstop, Trevor Story. Good story on him this year. Ryan Rayburn in left field. Mark Reynolds over at first base. Nick Hundley catching and batting ninth and doing the pitching, Jorge De La Rosa. I'm sorry.
There you go. 28-year-old Paul Clemens out of Columbia, South Carolina, but he spent some time here in Miami growing up. His father was in the FBI and for a time was the director of the FBI in South Florida, and so Clemens was down here as a kid and then in the Washington D.C. and Virginia area, and then as a teen in South Carolina. Went to Lewisburg College, drafted by the Braves, and ended up being traded to Houston in July of 2011. Miami's defense. Say hi to Christian Yelich. You'll probably see him later in the ball game. It's his night off tonight. Ichiro in left, Marcelo Zuna in center, Giancarlo Stanton in right. Martin Prado and Chris Johnson on the corners, Derek Dietrich and Danny Echeverria up the middle, and JT Realmuto behind the plate. So Ichiro gets a start tonight. And of course, he is 20 hits away from 3,000. He's had an incredible season so far. As Don Mattingly has been very consistent about giving outfielders a day off here and there and getting Ichiro a start or two a week. And of course, when Yelich was down and when Stanton was struggling, Ichiro saw a little more playing time, especially in the American League cities.
Yeah, Ichiro, I think Don Mattingly has done an excellent job of rotating in his bench players and getting them significant at bats to keep them sharp, because you're going to need those guys down the stretch.
Charlie Blackmon is the first to hit tonight for the Rockies. It is a Rocky offense that was really hot coming into the series. They had won 8 of 10. The Marlins bullpen, along with Tom Kohler yesterday, shut this team out, held it down to just the 2 hits. Blackmon, LeMahieu, Arenado. First pitch, fastball is out. Fastball, curve, slider slash cutter, and a change for Paul Clemens. And a fastball is in there for a strike. That was Ron Kopa you just heard. Chris Conroy, Jerry Meals, and Sean Barber are on the bases for this wraparound series. Started on Friday, ends here on a Monday. Blackmon in the air, and Ozuna pursues and has it.
Yeah, when you look at this Rockies offense and that out right there, they are now 1 for 28 leading off an inning in this series. Just 11 hits for the Rockies, batting .122, 11 for 91 now. And they entered this series, as you said, leading the National League in average, but have since been leapfrogged by the Marlins.
What's the dynamic of a 4-game series like this, especially when one team has won the first 3?
Well, I think the Rockies are just trying to figure out what they're doing offensively and trying to get the leadoff man on. They have not done that but one time this entire series. So when you look at the meat of this lineup with LeMahieu and Arenado and Gonzalez and Story, they've had nobody on base to drive in.
It's a great point, because Blackmon and LeMahieu are the guys that have not been able to get on base before that trio you just mentioned. In the air, Stanton, Dietrich out. Stanton, with his presence and I'm sure his voice, alerts Dietrich and makes the catch. And it's a nice start for Paul Clemens. A couple of outs in the air. And here is Arenado.
Obviously, we're not, especially fans there at home, have not seen Clemens, and we'll kind of learn his repertoire as we go along. But so far, pretty good moving, low 90s fastball, 92 and 93 miles an hour so far. And it's, I think the key to his start tonight is filling up the strike zone. Just throw strikes.
I liked what Preston said on Marlins Live when he said, look, they're not asking Clemens to come in here and win the game. They're asking him to just come in here and pitch and keep the ball club in the game. Yeah, especially for a team that's scoring runs right now.
You're talking about a staff and the way the Marlins have been pitching as of late, and the way that the Marlins have been hitting with their clutch hits, especially the multi-run home runs we've seen in the last 3 games. You want to give your team a chance to win, and that's all they can ask for from Clemens tonight.
Arenado 3 for 11 in this series. Well, that breaking ball missed a little bit in and a little bit up, and Clemens can smile about it now because it didn't clip ARENADO. But when you spin one and it gets away, did that even register on Fox Tracks?
That was off the screen.
So why not come back with it? And this one cuts in and misses. It's 2-2. There's that distant pitch, number 3. I'm still waiting for the first pitch that just doesn't even register. Line into right field, a base hit. ARENADO, a 2-out single. And that brings up Carlos Gonzalez. The Marlins open play with a not only a nice run and wind in their sails, having won 5 of 6 and 3 in a row in this series, but the Marlins are in second place right now in the East, and they have possession. If it were to end today, this merry-go-round of a major league season, they are in possession of one of the wild card spots. Now there's a long way to go, but for a team with a young and talented core who is trying to learn how to win, this is all positive stuff. Clemens misses outside to Carlos Gonzalez.
Very positive. I had a nice conversation with Don Mattingly the other day just about that, is about this team learning how to win. And he said they've been through their rough spots during the course of this season. They've been treading water a little bit at that 500 mark. And he thinks, like right now, he's thinking that they are starting to learn how to get that big hit late in the game and to rely on their teammates to have good defense and pitch out of the bullpen. So he kind of got a smile on his face when he's talking about it, because he likes to see the evolution of this team and how they're learning how to do that.
And that was one of the first things that he said about this core group of Ozuna, of Stanton, of Yelich, Echeverria, Dietrich, even PRADO, who obviously is a little older, is that when he called everybody in the offseason when he got the job, he was really surprised pleasantly at how confident they were and how each guy to a man told him, hey, we have a good team. The record obviously last year didn't show it. It was a nightmare year certainly for everybody involved on the fields. And Mattingly went into spring training thinking to himself, well, that's interesting, because you know, he saw a talented team when he was managing the Dodgers and they played the Marlins, but to hear it from everybody. Little tapper, and then PRADO cuts in front, kicks it, throws it, and they've got ARENADO hung up. Misfortune to a nice break, all in one play. Ichiro leads it off in a scoreless game. Game 4. All right, here's an odd play. Jeff Conine narrates if you will.
Well, we got the shift going on. Carlos Gonzalez playing up the middle on him. Look at Martin Prado coming from the left of your screen all the way out, trying to cut that ball off. Probably should have let it go to Adeiny Echeverria. Just misses it, but has the wherewithal and the presence to make that throw to Derek Dietrich to get the out of the inning.
It goes as a hit and a fielder's choice. And now Jorge De La Rosa will take a look at this Miami lineup. It's brought to you by UHealth Sports Medicine.
Leading off, Ichiro Suzuki in his march toward 3,000 hits. Martin Prado at third base. Center field, Marcell Ozuna, huge home run yesterday. Right fielders, Giancarlo Stanton. Over at first base, Chris Johnson. Catcher, JT Realmuto. Second has Derek Dietrich. Shortstop, Adeiny Echeverria. And on the mound, batting ninth, Paul Clemens.
De La Rosa and Ichiro have met before. And a fastball starts Ichiro's night out. De La Rosa, 36, out of Monterrey, Mexico. Guy that has found success and the secret to pitching at Coors Field. He's the winningest pitcher in Rockies history and the strikeout leader in Rockies history. And Ichiro has seen him a total of 10 times, is 5 for 10 against this lefty.
A lot of times you'll see left-handed batters get taken out of the lineup against a left-handed pitcher. Ichiro actually has a career average that is higher against left-handed pitching than right-handed pitching.
Everybody's got their cameras out. 8 for 21 against lefties this year is Ichiro. And after a lefty-on-lefty changeup, a fastball from De La Rosa. It's 2-2. Martin Prado, Marcell Ozuna. Ichiro getting the start in place of Christian Yelich, who has the night off. Breaking ball. Ichiro slaps it to short. Story on to first, and in time. So one out. Rockies defensively. Boy, what a catch that was from Carlos Gonzalez in right, with Charlie Blackmon in center. Ryan Rayburn at third. Arenado at third. Mark Reynolds. Trevor Story, DJ LeMahieu up the middle. Nick Hundley is behind home plate. With Ichiro on the leadoff spot and Yelich out, Tom Mattingly has kind of advanced Ozuna, Stanton, Johnson, and everybody up after Prado. So it's Ozuna who hits third and Stanton who hits cleanup. Ozuna's been in the cleanup spot. Stanton's been hitting fifth for the last week or so.
Putting Ichiro in the leadoff spot knocks Derek Dietrich down to 7th in the lineup. But Dietrich has done an outstanding job at the leadoff spot. The games he's been in there, hitting well above 300 with about a 400 on base average.
2-0. Prado takes a strike. Told you that for De La Rosa, it's been famine and then feast. He was awful in his first 6 starts. 1-4 with an ERA of over 11. Prado to right. And Gonzalez is there to make the catch.
Yeah, Rich, he was so bad that the Rockies actually took him out of the rotation, and he made 3 relief appearances trying to get his mechanics straight. Finally getting back on the mound in a starting role June 14th against the Yankees, and actually threw the ball very well. 5 innings pitched, 3 hits and no runs.
And a couple of the tweaks that he's made have worked out for him.
Yeah, you mentioned he is a bit more rotation in his delivery and his windup. You see when he comes set here and starts his windup, he's turning his body and knee more toward second base than he used to, and I think that's given him better control on his fastball. You see here bringing it behind the mound almost, getting that nice load position and then letting it go toward home plate.
I saw Jeff Smarja has made a little more obvious turn in his delivery, and that's helped him out. Well, that breaking ball came in, and Ozuna getting his hands through it. scary moment as that one was rifled right towards the Marlins dugout.
Thank goodness that one found an empty seat. Ozuna's been very impressive in this current streak he's on. 319 batting average now. Hit a huge 3-run homer last night to put the only runs on the board for the Fish.
Yeah, yesterday the Marlins were up against Tyler Anderson, a young lefty from Las Vegas. Anderson left just before that Ozuna at bat, and the home run came at the expense of Miguel Castro. Ozuna again, left field and gone.
He is on fire right now. Marcell Ozuna getting the Marlins on the board early in this game with the long ball.
14th for Ozuna, following up the 3-run shot that provided all the runs yesterday.
Take a look at how long Marcell Ozuna's bat stays through the zone. This is a changeup. Just a little bit outer third of the plate. Good height to just crush, and boy, did he not miss that at all. Got out of here in a hurry.
Now Stanton. He takes down low. Giancarlo Stanton yesterday was 1 for 4 in this series. Progress. 6 for 12. 2 RBIs and a walk. He swings at a breaking ball. Was down and in. A ball and a strike.
We're getting here toward the end of June, and you look at all-star game worthy players on the Marlins. It's going to be tough to overlook Marcell Ozuna.
Well, we've identified what 4 guys. You could, go a little deeper, maybe go 5. But Ozuna and Jose Fernandez, Christian Yelich certainly, A.J. Ramos. If you want to throw in a Martin Prado or a David Phelps, you can do that as well. Because Prado certainly has been in that top 10 in hitting, top 5 in hitting for a long time.
If you want to go a little deeper than that, you look at what JT Realmuto has done in the catching position, hitting over 300 as well.
Stanton launches a laser to left. That one's gone in the blink of an eye. Giancarlo is back. Back to back with Ozuna.
Wow, that was a 1-iron, Rich. I wish I could hit that on the golf course, let alone a baseball field. First home run since May 24th for the big man.
Look at that, and his teammates just as happy as he is.
That's the Stanton of old that we saw at the torrid start in the first part of May when he was just crushing balls out of everywhere. You look at this exit velocity. I don't know what it is, but it's really hard. That ball's right down the middle. Look at the extension on his swing. You've seen him been pulling off a little bit lately. He gets through that ball. Amazing. First back-to-back home runs this season for the Marlins.
Well, let's start with Stanton. 111 miles an hour off the bat, 405 feet. Ozuna right behind him, 109 miles an hour off the bat, 405 feet. So both at 405, both solo shots, 0-2 to Johnson. And he swings and misses and strikes out. Inning ends, but the Marlins put up 2. Well, we talked about the long ball and how that's helped fuel this run. No better example than back-to-back homers. Marcell Ozuna, and welcome back, Giancarlo Stanton.
Marlins Baseball es presentado en español vía SAP por West Kendall Toyota.
2-0 lead, Miami on top of Colorado. And for Paul Clemens, making his Marlins debut up from AAA, this has to make him feel pretty comfortable. A 2-run lead. He's got Trevor Story, Ryan Rayburn, Mark Reynolds of the Rockies in the second. We've seen a big breaking ball from Clemens. He snaps off a good one against Story, the much ballyhooed rookie who lit it up in the month of April. Has impressive numbers coming in here, but it's just 1 for 9 in this series. He figured he'd double up on that curveball. It's 1-2.
Yeah, we saw him test out that curveball to NOLAN ARENADO, and the first one went over his head, almost didn't register on Fox Tracks. The next one was still up and in, and now he's going to get that feel of the curveball, and it's going to be a bit better in the strike zone.
Story has a little Nomar Garcia-Parra in him, in that after every pitch, he's out and readjusts the batting gloves. Someday they'll come up, he's even out and readjusting the readjustment. Someday they'll come up with Velcro that doesn't need to be continually adjusted.
I don't think it really does. I think that's probably a routine that a guy gets into, and that's the way he feels he gets ready. He just does the whole thing. You know, Nomar Garcia-Parra would do the batting glove each time, and then he'd tap his toes into the ground a certain number of times and adjust the wristbands.
I think that pitch hit him almost. I mean, he swung at it and it was so far inside it almost looked like it clipped him in the hand or the arm.
It looked like it hit his shoulder.
I think it hit his shoulder. Let's see. It did.
It hit his shoulder. That would be strike 3, correct?
That is a strike. And the Marlins are looking at it on tape right now. That should be strike 3.
I didn't realize this was a reviewable call.
It's not a reviewable call to see if it's a foul tip or not, but it is reviewable on a hit batter. So technically what the Marlins are challenging here is it hit him, not that he foul tipped the ball. If it was clearly just for a foul tip or not, that's not a reviewable play. But the fact that it was a strike and not called a foul ball.
Yeah, you see here it clearly misses his bat and clips him on the right shoulder. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
So if he swings at it and it doesn't hit him and they rule it a foul ball and it appeared like he didn't, the Marlins couldn't challenge that. But since it hit him, they can challenge that it was a hit batter.
And since he did take a full swing at the strike.
Without question. Without question. Yeah, if you bunt at the ball or swing at the ball and it hits you, it's a strike.
I would think this would be a pretty quick review here.
And you know what? It's an impossible call for an umpire. I mean, you're crouched behind the catcher. The ball's coming in at 95. It happens in the blink of an eye.
And a lot of what they call on is sound. So I'm sure they heard it hit something and he felt that it hit the bat. Doesn't look like they're going to call him out, though.
No. And if so, the Marlins are going to lose their challenge. I guess the only thing they could say is maybe they felt it hit the bat, then hit his shoulder. All right, batter hit by pitch is eligible for video review. We watched it a couple times. It did not look like it was tipped. I mean, it looked pretty clear that it missed the bat and hit him in the shoulder.
I thought that was clear and convincing evidence that it wasn't a foul ball. I'm really curious to see what they're going to say on the ruling on that one.
We will get clarification from New York in a moment. And Story pops one to left, and it's deep, and it's gone. Wow. What a turn of events. The Marlins don't get the benefit of the review, and then Story hits the next pitch into the seats. And the Marlins can be as upset as they want, but they can't be upset with this umpiring crew, because this umpiring crew did not make that ruling. It was the umpiring crew in New York.
Yeah, I think Trevor Story knew he was going to get a fastball to hit.
It's the first Rockies home run this series, and it comes in Game 4.
And I think Trevor Story right now is walking down the dugout and saying, boys, I got away with one right there. I should have been down back in the dugout, struck out, and end up getting another chance and getting a home run. So I'm shaking his head there like, wow, what just happened? I went from a strikeout and being hit by the pitch to getting a solo homer.
Echeverria, long throw in time. So New York has clarified, since the original call on the field was foul ball and not hit by pitch, the play's not reviewable. So I assume what happened was the umpires got the headsets on, called New York, and New York said, sorry, it's not reviewable. Now the question I have is, do the Marlins lose a challenge if it's not reviewable? I mean, that's obvious that he never fouled it. Breaking ball, and Mark Reynolds goes deep, and the Rockies have tied this game. How about that? First it's Story, now it's Reynolds. 4 solo homers in this ball game. That's 2-2.
Going back to that curveball again, you see the curveball grip with that finger up on top, kind of a hanger. Did not get it down where he wanted to. And Mark Reynolds, always a dangerous hitter, good power. Curveball only 71 miles an hour coming in.
And a lot faster going out. The Marlins do not lose the challenge. Apparently that's the word from New York. Since it's not challengeable, the Marlins don't lose the challenge. That one to left. That one's deep. Ichiro back. That one's gone. Nick Hundley. 3 solo homers here in the second. And the Rockies flexing their muscles and have taken the lead. Boy, a procedural loophole in the replay review rundown has opened the door, and the Rockies have come storming in. And what should have been strike 3 to Story, he homers, and then Reynolds and Hundley homer.
And it's just a matter of location right now for Clemens. These balls are a hanging curveball to Mark Reynolds. That pitch pretty much right down the middle, about mid-thigh as far as the strike zone's concerned. And boy, the Rockies are making up for lost time. They didn't hit 1 home run the first 3 games of this series, and they've got 3 in 1 inning.
5 solo homers in this baseball game, and there have been, what, 7 outs recorded? And of course, De La Rosa is going to swing for the fence. He was on his back foot there. Figured he'd,
of course, I try to join the party.
He'd eat while the eating was good. He's 3 for 10. Clemens misses down low. The Marlins dugout's in shock right now.
Rosa swinging the bat pretty well this year, hitting 300, 3 hits, has scored 3 runs and 10 at bats, and also has 3 RBIs.
And a foul tip into the glove of JT Realmuto. All right, so what promo should we run now after 5 solo homers? How about bat flips? No, we haven't seen a bat flip here, but every now and then you see one, and sometimes, especially in Korea, they can be glorious. And they can also get you to the All-Star game in San Diego. Post a video of your bat flip to @Fox Sports with the hashtag Fox Bat Flip Contest. Do it now through the 26th of June. Visit foxsports.com/batflip.
Of course, becoming pretty in after last year's playoff run. Toronto Blue Jays, Jose Bautista and his famous bat flip that caused quite a stir.
Blackman lifts it, Ichiro under it. Shell shock. That's the word that comes to mind for both pitchers so far. 5 homers in the game, 3-2 Rockies. Juan Nieves talking to Paul Clemens. 3 solo homers in the second. You look at his pant leg, and it looks like there's some blood on it. And as a pitcher, the first thing you think about is a blister or something to that effect, or a cut on his hand. He's not had an at bat yet, so it's something to keep an eye on. Now the Marlins go back to work. Marcell Ozuna and Giancarlo Stanton went back-to-back in the first. And the Rockies did the Marlins one better in the second, with Trevor Story leading off the inning with a homer. And then Mark Reynolds and Nick Hundley going back-to-back, all solo shots. And this ball game, with great trepidation for the guys on the mound, goes to the bottom of the second.
We are a few weeks away from the July 4th, but man, is the fireworks going off here tonight. You see Mike Kozak trying to, looks like, cover a cut or something on the thumb, the outside of the thumb.
Realmuto
place.
Pulls it foul.
See, on the outside of the thumb, it's an odd place to have. You wonder if maybe he was angry after giving up 3 solos and he might have hit something with his hand. Or
it's tough to find something to hit out there, you know, on the mound.
Maybe when he came in the dugout, I don't know. It's an odd spot to have blood coming from a pitcher hand.
There's the changeup from De La Rosa, and he gets his second strikeout. He strikes out Realmuto. Derek Dietrich, Danny Echeverria also coming up. Marlins and Rockies here on a Monday night. The Braves are here tomorrow. It's a quick 2-gamer for Atlanta. Game tomorrow night and a noon start on Wednesday, camp day. Traditional day for all the campers from around the area will be here. And then Thursday night, the Cubs, 4-game series, much anticipated series. Dietrich rolls one up the middle. LeMahieu backhands, fires to first in time. And so 2 outs in the second. Well, tomorrow night you can get discounted tickets in most seating categories with the Steals and Deals Tuesday offer. 7:10 start. Go to marlins.com. And it's Atlanta and the Marlins. It's a Jose Fernandez start, which adds a little fun to it. Bud Norris will go for the Braves. It's Adam Conley and Matt Whistler. CSI Miami, in terms of Miami Marlins, still trying to look, see if we see anything. It's bleeding while he's out there. Center field. And that's a quick inning for De La Rosa. 3-2, Rockies on top, headed to the third. On top. Here comes the third, and here comes the legal portion of the broadcasts, which is presented by the authority of the Marlins. May not be reproduced, retransmitted. Any form, accounts, and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Marlins. Solo home runs, lots of them, 5 of them. The Rockies hit 3 of them in the second. Paul Clemens has been bleeding out of his hand. We saw the Marlins trying to get that under control in between innings. DJ LeMahieu. And then Arenado and Carlos Gonzalez.
A lot of stuff going on here, Rich. Early in this game, we saw a weird, unchallengeable call that Trevor Story swung through a ball and he got hit in the shoulder. The Marlins tried to challenge it, but it was not challengeable.
And of course, the loophole there was it was ruled a foul ball. It hit him in the shoulder. It would have been strike 3. It should have been, but once the umpire calls a foul ball, you can't review that it's not a foul ball. You can review if it hit him or not, but since the original call was foul ball, the point is moot, and the Marlins were not charged for a challenge. At least that's the report out of New York. And on the very next pitch, Trevor Story homered, and it was on. Not unlike Donkey Kong.
3 of the next 4 batters went deep.
So Clemens now trying to regroup. Whether it's physical, we'll have to keep an eye on that hands. Ozuna to the track, and in the cutout, the deepest, darkest left center field, Ozuna makes the catch. That's about a 405-foot out off the bat of DJ LeMahieu.
Hey, look at the route of Marcell Ozuna. He's improved so much on his jumps. He gets a good jump right off the bat with this ball. He knows where it's going, so you run to a spot, turns around. There it is, out number 1. The struggles continue for Blackmon and LeMahieu. Now just 1 for 25 in this series.
Here's Arenado, who singled to right. That curveball that Clemens throws has a kind of a real loop to it. And he's tried against the right-handed hitters to come in the front door rather than start it over the plate. He started it at that left shoulder of the right-handed hitters.
Yeah, you see the grip as that knuckle comes on top of the baseball. It's a very slow curveball. He's throwing this in low 70s, which, if it's elevated, gives the hitter a lot of time to make an adjustment. And we saw that with Mark Reynolds. He parked that slow curveball into left field for a home run.
Count 2-1. Clemens last year in the Phillies and the Royals organization in the minor leagues. Parts of 9 years in the minors, parts of 2 years in the big leagues with the Astros. Sharp grounder. PRADO to first. So if you're wondering how can a pitcher's hand undergo any type of damage or contact on the mound, watch the right hand whip around. Kind of hits him right around the belt. Whether that's where he clipped himself or cut himself, I don't know.
Yeah, you see on that pitch there, he looks down, definitely broke the skin. He's wiping blood on his uniform.
That's not a familiar sight for a pitcher. Busted bat, shallow shot. Echeverria runs it down. And Clemens a much quieter third. 3-2, 1-run game here. Rockies on top. Bottom third. Marlins facing Jorge De La Rosa, and Auto Nation brings you this scouting report.
Let's take a look what Mr. De La Rosa features in full toolbox. That means he's got all 4 pitches four-seam fastball. Tonight, 89 to 91, 92 miles an hour. Curve, cutter, and a split. He's been throwing that split a lot less as of late and going with a more conventional changeup. Top of the rocks pile. This is the Colorado's all-time win leader at 81.
And for a franchise that has had a hard time developing pitching, he stands out as a guy that's had success at Coors Field. Clemens with a swing and a miss. De La Rosa up 0-2 in the count. The amazing numbers about De La Rosa at Coors Field: 51 and 18.
Wow.
A 4.22 ERA. That's a 739 winning percentage in Denver,
which is probably the most difficult place to win a baseball game as a pitcher.
Change up and a good one. And he strikes out Clemens. We check in with Craig Minervini. Craig.
Thank you very much, Rich. Here's Kinji, who is back here from Japan to root for Ichiro. And these three ladies here are from Nagoya, which is the hometown of Ichiro. Look at this neat fan they made here, if you could see this. Ichiro with the number. So they're getting ready. Ichiro is on pace for a 100+ hit season. So if everybody's trying to figure out when that Ichi meter is going to get up to 3,000 hits. If you extrapolate some of the days, you're looking around late July, July 28th, 29th. That's at this pace. Also, Don Mattingly told us probably going to give some guys some days off over the next few days. You may see another start or two from Ichiro in the outfield. Guys?
All right, thank you. Ichiro lines that one up into the seats. Counts 0-2. First at bat. Fell behind in the count. In a breaking ball, he rolled it out to short. He's 0-2 against De La Rosa. As we pointed out, he has seen him before. He's 5 for 11 in his career against him. That's a pretty good pitch. De La Rosa thought so. Just outside. Good eye by Ichiro. Something he's known for. Up the middle, LeMahieu around it quickly. That's close, but he's out. Back in the day, that's a base hit.
That's a base hit, and back in the day, the shortstop would not be playing that deep either, or the second baseman. The infielder would almost play a double play depth because they knew that if Ichiro put it on the ground and had a couple bounces to it, he usually beat that ball out.
There's your matchup. Jose Fernandez, Bud Norris tomorrow night, 6:30 for Marlins Live. Here's Prado now, who flied to right. De La Rosa bounces it up there. De La Rosa now has given up 10 home runs. This is his 8th start.
Look at the recent power surge by the Marlins in this series. I was just curious, and our crack staff got me some numbers. The Mets lead the National League in 53% of their home runs, or I'm sorry, 53% of their runs are scored by the long ball. Nationals, who lead the National League in home runs, 41%, and the Marlins are 13th in the National League at only 32% of their runs are scored by the long ball.
If that statistic were to go back just 6 or 7 days, the Marlins would shoot a little higher with the outbursts that they've had of late in San Diego and here in the series against the Rockies. Prado sitting on a 2-2 count. Speaking of the Mets and the Nationals, the Mets are off, the Nationals are not.
Boy, what a marquee matchup the Nationals out in LA is going to be tonight.
Strasburg, Kershaw tonight.
20-1 between them.
It's pretty good. Arenado makes that play in his sleep and throws out PRADO. 3-2, all homers. Men mustache and beard play like a champ profile. This is the pitching matchup that Jeff Conine was talking about. You want numbers? You got numbers. 7 walks. That's it for Clayton Kershaw in 14 starts and 108 innings. And Strasburg's back home somewhat. He's a Southern Cal guy, a little further down the I-5 in San Diego. Now, back to the scene of the crime is Paul Clemens. If you weren't with us, Clemens had a pair of strikes on Trevor Story, threw him an inside fastball. He swung and missed. The ball hit him in the shoulder and bounced off. The home plate umpire said it was a foul ball. The Marlins doth protest and ended up challenging. Replays clearly showed it never hit his bat, it just hit him in the shoulder. But the technicality is you can challenge whether it's a hit by pitch or not. You can't challenge foul ball, and since it was originally ruled a foul ball, the play was not challengeable. Marlins did not lose their challenge, but of course the next pitch, Story hits in the seats in left field. 2 hitters later, Mark Reynolds hits a solo shot. After him, Nick Hundley hits a solo shot. And the Rockies hit 3 solo homers after the Marlins hit 2 of their own. And that's how we've arrived at 3-2.
Rich, I'm a little interested to know why the umpire would even let it be challenged. Why would he even have to call New York? If was he unfamiliar with that rule? You'd think you'd just say, sorry, Don, we can't do that. It's not a challengeable call because I ruled it a foul ball.
It's a good question. Well, that's one of the things that you can do, and we've seen it happen this year with replay or with the headsets, and it's legal to get a rules interpretation from the umpires in New York, because the umpires in New York, there's strength in numbers, although that didn't work for the Warriors. There's 2 umpiring crews in New York. That curveball has been troublesome for Clemens. So there's a possibility of having 8 umpires there, plus they are able to look stuff up in the rule book, and they can watch the play, slow it down, and go from there.
Yeah, as we've seen with the replay rules, there's a lot to interpretation of these rules, and I'm sure even for umpires it's really difficult to keep it all straight.
I would say that maybe as a nuance would be a good word for that. In case of nuance, go to New York. Turned by Dietrich in time on the double play. Started by Echeverria. And Paul Clemens gets 2 off the bat of Ryan Rayburn.
Tell you what, Derek Dietrich has done a phenomenal job of his turns this year. We saw one last night where he was off balance on a throw from Martin Prado. He was still able to right the ship and turn a crucial double play early in yesterday's game. I think he's just he works really hard at it, and with Perry Hill, and he's done a fantastic job of improving his defense.
Rockies are looking at this, and it may be the turn by Dietrich. The neighborhood rule. Remember, you have to have your foot on the base.
I see it on the base there.
Yep, it looks like it's on. And so after looking at it, there is no challenge. Here's Reynolds, who hit a hanging curveball a long ways. That one pulled foul. It's a trust issue now with middle infielders. They are trusting that the runners are going to adhere to the new sliding guidelines. That's why they're hanging on the base longer. And so apparently that's why Major League Baseball now enforces the neighborhood rule by replay. Because in the past, if a runner is going to come after you, umpires will give the middle infielder, or used to give the middle infielder, some wiggle room just for safety's sake.
Yeah, that's the neighborhood designation. You didn't have to actually be on the base when you turned your throw to first base, and we saw what happened with Chase Utley last year in the playoffs. Broken leg.
Ruben Tejada.
On Ruben Tejada, and that instituted this new rule the offseason where you cannot go after a middle infielder like that anymore. So you cannot go past the base to get an infielder. You can't slide to the side of the base. You have to make it a bona fide slide directly into the bag.
Oh! 3-2 to Reynolds. And it's out. So Clemens has walked 2 here in the 4th. On a Tuesday night, emails and tweets driven by Ford and South Florida Honda dealers. Get you ready for that ball game tomorrow night. Bud Norris, Jose Fernandez, Craig Minervini will be facing Preston Wilson. Those are your pitching matchups, both on the pregame and in the game. Here is Hundley, who also blasted one to left. He's got 3 home runs. Just in reading the missive from New York that we get about every replay review, it kind of clarifies that the umpires called for a crew chief review of replay regulations to confirm that a call or a foul ball followed by a hit by pitch is not reviewable. So that sheds a little more light on it. And you asked the question, well, why wouldn't the umpires know right away? It sounds like it was part courtesy to Don Mattingly and part let's make sure we get it right, since we have the resources to do it. And it does confirm that the Marlins were not charged with a challenge.
That's basically what the whole gist of replay has been since it's been instituted. Is, you know, they just want to get it right. And I think overall it's been a pretty good success.
Email also states, please tell Jeff Conine we said hi. Just throwing it out there. Must have been one of your buddies who was an umpire.
Oh, I had a lot of buddies that were umpires.
Is that sarcasm, or is that?
No, I was pretty. I got along well, I think, with pretty much all the umpires. I think I was respectful. I knew how to ask if a ball was called a strike that I thought was a ball. Never tried to show anybody up, and I think they appreciate that.
Clemens has walked 3 this inning, which is somewhat alarming. The double play softened that blow, and he gets De La Rosa here, but De La Rosa is a good hitting pitcher. So the obligatory question for me now is, how many ejections?
Just 1.
And what were the circumstances?
It was on a called third strike that I didn't particularly care for. And there are a few words that you cannot say to an umpire, and a lot of times you can argue with them, but as soon as you direct it to them and make it personal, that's when the arm goes up and you go bye-bye.
So you share something with Ichiro then?
He's only been ejected 1 time?
I believe he's only been ejected 1 time, and that was, he didn't argue balls and strikes, but he was so upset with a called strike that he actually drew a line in the dirt with his bat.
That's kind of a no-no.
To show where the ball went, and that got him run. But I think he got his money's worth too. Well, right now, Paul Clemens can't throw strikes, and as we've talked about, the Marlins bullpen is thin right now. It's been used a lot. The bullpen's been great, but they've had to suck up 13 innings in this series, and that's a lot of appearances for Bearclaw, for Phelps, Ramos, and guys in between. McGowan, Nick Whitgren has worked. And 39 hitters the pen has faced. And there's no off day between the next 2 series, 2 against Atlanta, 4 against the Cubs. So Paul Clemens is 66 pitches in a bit of hot water here. Blackman is 0 for 2 and 0 for 14 in the series.
Yeah, Marlins pitching has done an excellent job of keeping the top 2 hitters, Blackman and LeMahieu, off the base paths. Kind of the table setters for this Rockies lineup.
Clemens is hoping it doesn't get to Blackman. 2-1 on De La Rosa. He fouled it back. And that may have been the message from Juan Nieves. Look, the big bats are next. Just deal with what you know right here. De La Rosa struck out back in the 2nd.
As we were saying earlier, I think the Marlins, just with Paul Clemens on the mound, they'd like to keep the Marlins in the game, but to try to get deep into this game as well, because relievers have thrown 13 innings, starters 14 innings coming into this game tonight.
Clemens gets the strikeout, gets out of the inning. The big bats coming up for Miami. Marlins baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. By Checkers, fast foodies know the deal. And by Lexus of Pembroke Pines, price, service, selection. You're gonna love us. Sun setting in South Florida. A flurry of offense. 5 solo homers in the span of about 10 minutes, if that. And it started with this guy, Marcell Ozuna, in the first, a 2-out homer to left off of Jorge De La Rosa. And then Giancarlo Stanton would go back-to-back and hit a laser beam liner that just climbed over the wall in left center. And life was good for the Marlins, but it didn't last. Marcell Ozuna again, deep, gone, 3-3, 6 solo homers in this game already.
They're going to have to replace some light bulbs in the home run sculpture after this game. You look at what Marcell Ozuna has done against left-handed pitchers this year. He's actually torching them, coming in to tonight a .411 average, which leads Major League Baseball. There's that split finger changeup that De La Rosa throws right down the middle. Wow, Marcell Ozuna, you probably think he wasn't looking for that pitch, but to keep his hands back and hit it like he did, he is on fire right now.
And you saw the first guy that he met at the top step was Barry Bonds, and it was Bonds and Ozuna that from the very start of spring training were together side by side. Stanton now, who also homered in the first. 3-3 ball game, and all on solo homers. Stanton, look out, that bat flying out towards short. It's a fair ball. Arenado's throw off the glove of Reynolds. Stanton still has the bat in his left hand, or what's left of it. What an odd play for a lot of reasons. Don't run with that thing, young man.
See, De La Rosa fastball gets in on Giancarlo. He's left with just a shard of the bat. Arenado, obviously one of the best third basemen on the planet, scoops that ball up, but a good strong throw over. I don't know if it just should have been caught by Reynolds, or it didn't look like it was that far off.
Maybe he got distracted by that sharp thing in Stanton's hand.
He thought he was going to stab him with it when he's running by.
It's going to be ruled a hit initially, but that's probably one that will be looked at. I would think as a scorer, you've got to take into account for Arenado that he has to field the ball, and the business end of the bat is zipping out in his vicinity as well. So as it is right now, a hit. Here's Johnson, and he drives it in the gap left center, racing over, and there to make the catch is Charlie Blackmon. Here comes Real Muto. JT a strikeout back in the second. Oh! De La Rosa pours in a strike. Marlins have had success against lefties this year, both in average and in wins and losses. .270 as a team. That's fourth in the National League. No surprise that the best hitter against lefties in the league is Marcell Ozuna, coming in at .411. He's added to that with 2 solo homers. through the glove of De La Rosa, picks it up, fires to first, and Reynolds drops that one. Stanton on his way to third. My goodness. And the Marlins catch 2 breaks. One that went through the glove of De La Rosa, and the other went off the glove of Reynolds.
Yeah, it looked like De La Rosa kind of just nonchalantly going after this weak ground ball by JT Realmuto. Thought he's going to have it easily off the end of the glove, and then has to throw a rocket over there to first base. And Mark Reynolds can't handle it. Now panic mode sets in. I got to get it over there quickly. But Mark Reynolds, that's a catchable ball.
Well, Reynolds was unable to hold the throw from Arenado, and now he can't handle the one for Realmuto. I would think E3. And here is Dietrich now. Dietrich swings and misses. The count's 0-1. Dietrich bounced to second. So Stan is at third base. Realmuto is at first. Rockies infield up the middle looking for a double play.
They gave that error to the pitcher.
That's hard to imagine that De La Rosa gets there. Now, he did make the initial bobble, but
if Mark Reynolds catches that ball, he's out.
Yes. Meanwhile, the Marlins with an opportunity to take the lead. But De La Rosa's 0-2 on Dietrich. Here's another view of that, another angle.
I don't know if he was trying to make the turn, maybe go to second base before he got it, but I mean, that ball is right in the middle of Mark Reynolds' body. That's a tough ball to handle as a first baseman because it's right there, but you have to make that play. Absolutely.
Of course, in scoring in these modern times, between innings, the scorekeeper can actually hop up and ask to watch the play again. Once the play happens and you see one replay, you've got to keep scoring the game. So oftentimes a call like that will change between innings. Dietrich, and it's foul. He hooked it down the line.
Yeah, there might be a couple different scoring decisions reversed in this inning. That play where Reynolds should probably be given the error on that, and then Arenado's play, I'm not exactly sure what happened at first base on that one either. On Giancarlo Stanton's ball.
Marlins trying to score a run without a home run. That'd be a first in this game. Good at bat by Dietrich. Was in a discussion today on Sirius XM with Craig Mish and our good friend Cliff Floyd. We're talking about Dietrich and how he's replaced D. Gordon, and the one thing that came up are the at-bats that Dietrich is having. Now, he's not in the leadoff spot right now, but this is the type of at-bats he's had in that leadoff spot. He chews up a pitch count. 1-2. Pitch is out, and it's 2-2. Yesterday, I thought a key in the game, and Dietrich didn't do it with a hit or anything, but in the leadoff spot, he saw 19 pitches in his first 3 at-bats. He was 0 for 2 with a walk in those at-bats, and the walk was a 4-pitch walk. That has 2 written on it. The turn by LeMahieu is just in time. And the Marlins waste an opportunity to take the lead, but they draw even, and guess who? Hey now, you should be an all-star. Second homer, it's 3-3. real wild one into the 5th. Camp day is coming up. Wednesday, it's camp day. So your summer camp troops, get them ready, get them to Marlins Park. Marlins and Braves 12:10 start. Fans get a Christian Yelich trading card from Topps. Tickets start at just $10. Book your camp at marlins.com/groups. Welcome to maybe the most interesting game in baseball tonight. 6 runs, and they all have come on solo home runs. And if you're not paying close attention someplace and you glance at the score and you see all the homers, you're thinking this game has to be at Coors Field. But at Marlins Park, which is not an easy place to hit a home run, the Rockies have hit 3, the Marlins have hit 3. Marcell Ozuna has 2 of the 6. Blackman takes out. Paul Clemens off speed, hit hard and by the diving Dietrich. Charlie Blackman finally has a hit. First one in 15 at bats in this series. We check in with Craig Minervini.
Hey, Rich, talking to Paul Clemens yesterday. He got the news after the game the Zephyrs played a couple of nights ago, and he said the big difference this time compared to the last time when he was in the major leagues with Houston, he had 48 appearances, was he's called up to start. Mostly in the majors, he had 48 appearances, only 5 starts with Houston. This time you called up middle of the year, right in the middle of the season with a team that's doing quite well. He was real excited about that. When the Marlins looked at him, it was really exclusively as a starter. They looked at him, I just see that nice bunt down to third base. And that's going to take a Rockies bounce and be an infield hit for the Rockies. But they looked at him as a starter, and he started 14 times in New Orleans and did very well. And Don Mattingly said he's been there for depth, and that's why we're calling him right now. One other thing, they say he's born in Columbia, South Carolina, but he does not have a southern accent. I asked him about that. He said, well, I only spent a year or 2 there, not too much time. My dad was in the FBI. They traveled a little bit around the Northeast and basically grew up in the D.C. area. His dad's family from Philly. There you go.
Well, there you have it, and he's in a bit of a spot here now. The Rockies have Blackman and LeMahieu both on base. Finally, we talked about the ability in the 4 games to keep those 2 guys off base. Well, here they are on, and there's nobody out, and Arenado, Gonzalez, and Story are right behind.
Yeah. Before this inning in this series, Blackman and LeMahieu are 1 for 27 combined. And now all of a sudden they're 2 for 2 in just this inning.
We have not seen Clemens fiddle with or fuss with that cut that was on the outside of his throwing hand thumb. Not down near the tip, but up further up closer to the hand. You see the blood still on his pants. You can see the remnants of it.
Kozak might have put some super glue on that or something to stop the bleeding.
That is a popular way to do it. Who knew when super glue first came out?
That'll be used in off-label uses, stopping cuts from bleeding.
Used to be that goofy commercial with the guy in the construction
the helmet
stuck to the girder. Dangerous hitter here. Arenado, an all-star last year and playing like an all-star this year. His offense and his bat are starting to catch up with his defense and his glove.
See on the season a .358 batting average with runners in scoring position.
.583 is his slugging percentage. And of course that measures the type of damage that you're doing with your hits. And in Arenado's case, it's extensive. It's 20 home runs. Also he's got 57 driven in. Clemens misses in.
Yeah, that .583 slugging percentage currently ranking number 3 in the National League.
The average slugging percentage in the National League is .406. So if you're nearly 200 points above,
you're doing some damage.
You are doing some damage.
Tied for the league lead in home runs with 20, leading the league in runs batted in with 57.
Total bases divided by at bats gets you your slugging percentage. Ball and a strike. Clemens 75 pitches in. Oh, that's that hanging curveball that Reynolds hit a mile.
Good downward rotation, 71 miles an hour. Oh, that looks so good floating up there as a hitter.
What makes that pitch difficult? Is it the break or the change of speed?
Well, it's a little bit of both. I mean, the change of speed is so great compared to his fastball, almost 20 miles an hour slower. But that could be a benefit to the hitter too, because he's got time to recognize it and make his adjustment while it's on the way to the plate.
PRADO, Dietrich, Johnson, and Miami gets 2. Second double play for Clemens, and now a chance to get out of this inning.
Look at the hands on Martin PRADO. Wow. One hot bullet. Plenty of time. Good feed to Derek Dietrich on to first base. Pitcher's best friend.
I know PRADO does not rank highly in terms of range factor and all of that, but in terms of balls that he can get to or balls that are difficult at his feet or hit hard, he is exceptional at that.
Some of the best hands and footwork you're going to see on any third baseman in the National League. Only 2 errors this year, right behind ARENADO, who only has 1.
Right to Echeverria. How about that? The Rockies finally get Blackman and LeMahieu on, and Clemens gets ARENADO, and now Gonzalez on a liner. Extreme infield shifts. The Marlins are not part of that, but they do have a lot of what they are called mini shifts. And Perry Hill directs his infield by the hitter and by the pitcher. That's the double play ball. PRADO in the right spot. Now there's Etch. Not an extreme shift, but right there.
Perry Hill calls it playing the spots, and you'll see him beginning of a series. He'll go out and he'll make Little cuts in the infield grass.
ARENADO, and that is why he's considered maybe the best defensive player in the game.
Well, wow. We've seen him yesterday when he didn't get an out, roll on his back and throw from his back a strike. Here gets a little help from Mark Reynolds, but just to get this ball in the air from his knees, that's an exceptional play.
Well, it looks like for the Marlins, it's the end of the road for Paul Clemens. Cole Gillespie will get the at-bat here. Marlins get 5 innings out of Clemens in a 3-3 game, bottom 5 with 1 out. Pinch Penny happy to present Cole Gillespie.
Clemens going to 5 innings, giving up 7 hits, 3 earned runs. It's 78 pitches, not too bad on the pitch count, but the Marlins are electing to try to get some offense here and feel confident with that bullpen.
Outside,
3-1 to Gillespie.
Just 37 at bats on the year for Gillespie, but you still got to love his quality of at bats, especially in the pinch hitting role, because he just doesn't see that many pitches.
And that's the hard thing. You mentioned the at bats, 37 of those, 15 of them are pinch hitting at bats. So he really hasn't had a whole lot of opportunity to get any continuity. A lot of that has to do with the success of Ichiro. ARENADO, this is a layup for him. Wow, that was close. And of course Reynolds has had trouble on a couple of balls. And by the way, that scoring decision on the error that was charged to De La Rosa, it's been given to Reynolds. Does StatCast measure the velocity on that throw?
I know they do it from the outfield. You talk about some of the outfielders being able to throw 100+ miles an hour on throws to a base on a base hit.
Marlins are looking. I'm sure they wanted to see if Reynolds kept his foot on the bag, and he did. So a couple of plays ARENADO's way. And here is Ichiro, who has hit a pair of ground balls to the shortstop Trevor Story. De La Rosa bends one in for a strike. This game televised nationally in Japan, as almost all the games probably will be from here on through, as Ichiro chases down 3,000.
It was interesting to go over to Tokyo and be a part of the press conference when the Marlins signed Ichiro. And I mean, I've been fortunate enough to play in a couple World Series, and his signing with the Marlins was attended by probably more media than I've ever seen at a press conference, even in the playoffs. That's how big Ichiro is over in Japan, and still the most recognizable and marketable athlete over there.
And quite honestly, when he arrived in Seattle in 2001, the crush of media from Japan was enormous. And it wasn't just the sports networks or stations. It was newspapers, news stations, the Access Hollywood shows, if you will. They wanted to get a picture of Ichiro having lunch somewhere, Ichiro walking down the street. There was one guy whose only job was to videotape Ichiro walking out of the steps of the clubhouse and the dugout and onto the field, and that was it. Once he got that shot, he would send it to Japan, and his night was over. 3-2. And that shot would lead most of the news shows.
I remember I was playing with the Baltimore Orioles at the time and going to Seattle when Ichiro, during his rookie season 2001, the camera wells were completely shoulder to shoulder with photographers, like you said, just getting any kind of shot they could of Ichiro playing baseball. What a grab there by Fan. That's why you bring a glove to the game.
That's why you pay attention as well.
Yes.
Oh, the concession guy.
Concession guy had a bullseye.
Yeah, nice play. He should get a free whatever that is, right? Or like
I don't even think the guy knows he's about to be struck.
A case of it. 3-2. You know, the other thing, Jeff, in watching him firsthand in 2001, and it wasn't written about and it's not talked about, but there was immense pressure on him. He had the expectations, the hopes and the dreams of all of Japan, the league that he played for. If he had come over as their best player and failed or been average, that would have been a huge disappointment. That would have been like Ken Griffey Jr. going over to Japan to a higher league and failing. Taking the best player in the United States at some sports, sending him over to Europe to play basketball or whatever, and having that player fail. Because there was a lot of apprehension around baseball. Other teams, probably even in that Seattle clubhouse, when they saw Ichiro walk in at his size and say, how is this guy going to help us win games? And of course, all he did was go out and win the MVP that first year.
And I felt in my time in Baltimore in the American League that he was the most exciting player in all of baseball. He could do it all. 10 gold gloves to his name, absolute cannon for an arm. We've seen the stats, 262 hits in a year, stolen bases. I mean, he could do it all.
He's got a good lead here. Martin PRADO takes down low. So a good at bat by Ichiro. He works a 2-out walk. PRADO is 0 for 2. Ozuna's on deck, and of course Marcell has homered twice already tonight. Every run here tonight, a solo home run. This has the feel of one of those exhibitions, maybe once a year in a major league park, more often in a minor league park. You'll see the men of steel, those softball guys that just, they'll come and put an exhibition on, play a game, and it's just solo homer after solo homer.
Yeah.
3 by the Marlins, 3 by the Rockies.
Now, some of you might be wondering what the single game record for home runs in a game here at Marlins Park is. It was 7 a little over 2 years ago, May 23rd, 2014. Miami hit 4 and Milwaukee hit 3. So 1 away from tying a Marlins Park record for home runs in a single game.
De La Rosa using a slide step to try to keep Ichiro tight, and he's missed on all 3 to PRADO, and I don't think he wants to face Ozuna with 2 men on. And a strike. '78 pitches in for De La Rosa. Both bullpens have been worked in the first 3 games of the series. Well, he lost them, and guess what? He has to face Ozuna now. And here he comes. Wednesday's game against the Braves is camp day, and if you're coming, you can fill up at Chevron with Chevron with Techron. Bring your receipt to the Marlins Park ticket office and choose between 2 Lexus Legends level tickets. This is Marcell Ozuna. That was home run number 1, and that was home run number 2. And so here is Ozuna now with 15 home runs, 43 driven in. You got to go back to 2006 when Cody Ross, of all people, did it against the Mets. Ichiro at second, Prado's at first. He hit a split finger in his last home run.
You look at Ozuna's eye-popping numbers against left-handed pitching. Came in tonight leading the National League with a .411 average, now up to a .431 average with 7 home runs and 10 RBIs.
Came inside on him, and it's 0-1. That average against lefties, best in the National League in major damage with 7 homers.
Arizona having a really balanced attack this year, though, hitting .324 now.
That one is going to stay in the yard and in the infield. And the Rockies get out of the inning. 5 very full innings, 3-3. Jose Fernandez tomorrow against the Braves. Tonight, just a real intriguing ball game. A 3-3 ball game with 6 solo homers. And Brian Ellington is first out of the bullpen for a pen that's been worked a lot. And so the Marlins, I'm sure, are hopeful that Ellington can give them multiple innings. You would expect to see Nick Whitgren. Might see Dustin McGowan. Here is Trevor Story.
And speaking with Juan Nieves before the game tonight, he said they would prefer to stay away from Kyle Barraclough and David Phelps after their recent appearances. I want to wear those guys out.
Well, that's, I mean, if you're going to have depth in your bullpen, this is a game where that depth comes into play. It's great to have 7th, 8th, 9th like the Marlins have with Barraclough and Phelps and Ramos, but you can't run them out there every night, and you still are going to be in a spot where you can win games. This is a great example. It's 3-3 in the 6th. On nights where you don't have those guys readily available. That's an easy 97 from Ellington.
Yeah, it's almost like what you've got on your bench as far as position players. You need to get those guys into the game for one, to keep them sharp, but you need them to produce on days that they get to play, just so you're a successful team. And it goes the same way in the bullpen, just like you said, Rich, to have your main 3 guys, 7th, 8th, and 9th. You can't run them out there every single day. That's just not possible. So your supporting cast, Ellington, Whitgren, McGowan, those are the guys that you really need in games like this to step up for the Marlins to get those victories.
Ellington, a 2-2 count on Story. That's at the knees, and that's strike 3 called.
99 miles an hour.
Wow.
98.
That's on the black and at the knees at 98.
That's a really difficult thing to hit, I'm saying. And like you said, what an effortless motion he's got coming through at 98, 99 miles an hour.
Geico, this date in Marlins history. Terry Matthews becomes the first Marlins pitcher to have 2 doubles and 3 hits in a game. That was 95 as the Marlins beat the Rockies. Here's Ryan Rayburn. Twice his bounce to short in the 4th. That was the first of 2 double plays that Paul Clemens was able to get.
Here we go.
You go back to that 2nd inning and you wonder if the cut on his hand had anything to do with the 3 solo homers, because it happened so quickly, and then Clemens all of a sudden snapped back to form. He had an uneventful first. He used double play balls to get himself through the 4th and the 5th.
That was an odd, like you said, an odd span of 10 minutes where there was some very loud contact being made on both sides, both Marlins and the Rockies. They just made some mistakes over the middle of the plate that the Rockies did not miss.
Should be playable for Johnson. He stops right in the middle of the warning track, makes the catch. And Ellington has 2 outs here in the 6th inning. Have you ever had a burning question for the broadcast team? Well, every Tuesday on Fox Sports Florida, we've got Twitter and Email Tuesday. We want to hear from you. It's driven by your South Florida Ford dealers. Your tweets could be answered live on the air. We answer as many as we can. No question. Well, I shouldn't say that. Most questions make it. Here's Mark Reynolds. A good question tonight would be, what does a guy like Jeff Conine, Iron Man, 2-time All-Star, All-Star MVP, 2-time world champion, and world-class racquetball player, what does he eat for dinner while calling a Marlins game? And I have to be honest with you, he outclassed me in a big way tonight for dinner. Showing up with a salmon wrap. A salmon wrap.
A little grilled salmon, sliced avocado, a little heat in there with a little hot sauce, homemade hot sauce. Oh. Your sandwich looks pretty good though too.
Reynolds to left. Another one. That is 7 solo homers in this ball game, accounting for every run. And Reynolds has hit 2. The Rockies are back on top. Well, Mark Reynolds can hit him in bunches. He's got 2 tonight. He's got 6 on the season.
Not a great call here in my estimation. That's a hanging slider. You see him out in the front off his front foot. Gets it up in the air here at Marlins Park, and it carries out. But man, you're throwing a 98, 99 miles an hour with a fastball that is just seemingly unhittable right now.
That is just the 2nd hit and the first run that Miami's bullpen has given up. And this is game 4 of the series. And this is the 14th inning that the bullpen has worked. Nick Hundley is up.
Look at the, I think he's got outstanding control of his fastball tonight. We've seen strikeout on the black at 98. That pitch right there on the black at 98. Not really any reason to throw anything else.
Fastball popped behind first. Johnson out with Dietrich, and it's Johnson who makes the catch. But Mark Reynolds adds to the fun tonight. Another solo homer. It's 4-3 Rockies. Dodge is the presenting sponsor of Miami Marlins baseball. Giancarlo Stanton has hit a solo home run, but he's got company. There have been 7 solo homers hit in this game, and they account for every run in a 4-3 Colorado lead. Stanton, Chris Johnson, JT Realmuto coming up. John Chimchuk is our baseball historian, and even he is scrambling now to find the major league record for most solo homers that account for every run of a game.
He's to my right, and it's feverish. He's feverishly typing away, trying to find the answer to your question, Rich.
Stanton, Chris Johnson, JT Realmuto. Marcell Ozuna's hit 2. Stanton has hit 1. Those are the 3 runs for Miami. Mark Reynolds has hit 2. Trevor Story and Nick Hundley have hit 1. Those are the 4 for Colorado. Stanton's was a line drive that climbed out to left. Never got very high off the ground, but didn't need to with that type of pop.
The line score 4 hits for the Marlins, 3 of those being home runs, obviously, and 8 hits for the Rockies.
And an infield single in the 4th on a ground ball down the third base line in which his bat shattered and went flying through the hole between ARENADO and the shortstop Story.
Good changeup there from De La Rosa. Pitching a pretty good game. 83 pitches on the night in the 6th inning. That split finger changeup that he throws on the outside part of the plate. See if he comes back with that 3-2.
Stan, a sharp ground ball, and it's Story. Fires to first, and as we've learned, nothing's easy there for Mark Reynolds tonight. Fireworks Friday. That's in the middle of the Marlins Cubs series. Celebrate Venezuelan Heritage Night, powered by South Florida Ford, or pick up the Budweiser burger and beer package for just 25 bucks. Enjoy fireworks after the game. Early returns on the research by our research department is that if this game were to end right now, it would be an all-time record. Most runs in a game, all via solo homers, all time. The record is 5 runs, and obviously 5 solo homers. It's happened 7 times. The last was last year, Seattle and the Angels. Seattle hit 3, the Angels hit 2. But the rub is this: it has to end this way to be a record. So if a run scores without a solo homer, then all bets are off, and it's not a record. On a hop, Story makes another play, and Johnson is out number 2.
Well, we've seen some pretty impressive defense on both sides. Marlins and the Rockies. Outfield play, Arenado making some incredible plays over that third base. Trevor Story, I think, has done a very solid job in replacing one of the better defenders in the National League, in Troy Tulowitzki. You look at his offensive numbers, I think people are saying, Troy who?
John Tuitu, are you okay down there?
Gives you the thumbs up.
Nice to see. John Tuitu, always in harm's way, never shies away, always charges the ball. Sometimes when he has to knock it down, he'll knock it down. Sometimes when he has to cut his losses, he does like that. What shirt do you have on tonight, John Tuitu? Here's the 01. John has an extensive collection of college shirts, and he's a Badger, a Wisconsin Badger.
That's where my son is playing right now. Maybe he's just doing that. My son's in the North Woods League in La Crosse, Wisconsin. I think John knew that.
What is the nickname for the lacrosse team in the North Woods League?
The Loggers. Cross Loggers.
Is that a beer or a actual lumberjack?
L-O-G-G-E-R-S. Yes. Nice little town right next to the Mississippi River. They love their loggers.
Real Muto to right. Gonzalez isn't going to get this one, and it bounces up over the fence. Marlins have a double, a 2-out double. JT Real Muto with an extra base hit.
15th double this season for JT. Currently 4th in Major League Baseball as far as average is concerned at the catching position. Came in tonight with at bats as a catcher, hitting .299. Now with a 1-for-3 night, probably over 300.
Well, remember, the Marlins had that first and third opportunity in the 4th. With 1 out, Dietrich hit the sharp ball to short that turned into a double play. Oh! Strike there. Ball and a strike. Mike Dunn in Miami's pen. You got Ed Chavarria, and in the pitcher spot, due up next. Marlins have already used Cole Gillespie as a pinch hitter. That was in the 5th.
Haven't seen a whole lot of Mike Dunn as of late. A couple nights ago got an inning against Colorado. Before that, June 15th. Got an inning of work against San Diego. I would think that he's pretty fresh and ready to go. He's one of those lefties that is not a left-handed specialist, so to speak. I think he can get both sides of the plate out.
Busted bat. De La Rosa has it and tags Dietrich out. And the Marlins are done in the 6th. 4-3 still, Colorado. Stay in for another inning. Remember, Wednesday is a 12-10 start, and it still qualifies with the Chevron Crazy 8 offer. Fill up your tank with Chevron with Techron gasoline. Bring your receipt to the Marlins Park ticket office. Choose between 2 Lexus Legends level tickets. Say that 5 times faster. 1 home plate box ticket for just $28. Visit your local Chevron dealer today. Rich Waltz along with Jeff Conine, Craig Minervini. Brian Ellington wishes he had that slider back that he threw to Mark Reynolds. Reynolds snapped a 3-3 tie with a home run to left. The 7th homer of this game. All of them have been solo shots. Christian Adames for Colorado. So the end of the road for Jorge De La Rosa. Adames fouls it back. Adames, 24-year-old Dominican. Split his time last year between Albuquerque and Colorado. The Rockies like having their AAA affiliate at altitude because it prepares the pitchers and the hitters, for that matter, for what they're to face in Denver. For many, many years, Colorado Springs was the AAA affiliate for the Rockies, which may be at a higher altitude than Denver. I need to check on that. But I know they don't have a humidor there. At least they didn't last time I checked. But Albuquerque's at altitude, and that's a great place to hit.
I never played in the Pacific Coast League, which is where Colorado Springs is, and boy, you just hear the stories about how the ball flies out of that ballpark. Crazy big numbers.
This year, the first time that Colorado Springs is not a Rockies affiliate, it's a Brewers AAA affiliate. I was in the Coast League for 3 years, and that swing in the back then it was the Southern Division. That was before the Coast League spread out across the map. You would go into Albuquerque, Colorado Springs, Phoenix, Tucson. Some long nights in those ballparks.
Long nights. Gets a little toasty in Phoenix and Tucson during the summer as well.
Yeah, in my day, Fresno and Reno were not in that Coast League yet, but the other great place to hit was Calgary.
Calgary.
Adames walks. And now here's Charlie Blackmon. You got DJ LeMahieu to follow. The good news in that league was that there were some really good pitchers part. Vancouver, Tacoma, Portland wasn't bad. Of course, also in that South was Las Vegas. Great place to hit.
Yeah, I bet.
The problem was just getting some sleep there because visiting teams
nothing to do there. I mean,
would be a wreck by the second night. Blackmon got a base hit in the 5th. His first hit of the series. 1 for 15.
My 2 stints in the AAA was Omaha, so we're in the American Association.
Blackman's bunt down the first base line is foul. Let's do a little T-Mobile, shall we? With maybe an update. Greater coverage of baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. Julio Teheran. That was, of course, yesterday. Joe Panic, no panic there. Panic with a big hit late. Paul Goldschmidt extending his hit streak. And the news tonight is that Steven Strasburg has been scratched with an upper back strain. Yusmeiro Petit will make the start. Dexter Fowler also placed on the 15-day DL. That's significant. With the Cubs coming here, try it again. This time a good one. Gotta hurry and out. I think he's safe.
We're definitely going to look at this one again. Walt Weiss gets in the top step there to let everybody know that their video guy is going to be working overtime right now.
Chris Johnson.
Yeah, I think they have a definite challenge there. They're going to look at it again. Back of the glove is the rule. You see the foot down well in time. This will be overturned.
It looks easy in slow motion, doesn't it?
It's so easy in slow motion.
So this looks like it's going to be a bunt single, and it looks like Ellington's going to be in a first and second nobody out spot with all the big bats coming up. LeMahieu, Arenado, and Gonzalez. That was slow motion. Here's full speed.
Blackmon can run. That was a perfect bunt. Chris Johnson had to come all the way in and try to do an off balance throw to Derek Dietrich covering first base. Gets his second hit of the series. We saw Blackmon get his first hit, and DJ LeMahieu dropped down a perfect bunt that rolled all the way to third base. I was about to say, I wonder if we'll see him square around again.
Who says the Rockies can't play little ball?
Nine hits tonight. Of course, those 4 solo homers are accounting for all of their runs. See if LeMahieu squares around a bunt again to try advance the runners to second and third.
Do you like this? I mean, there's a pretty healthy school of thought that, especially with a guy like LeMahieu, rather than play for the 2 runs, you let him swing and play for a big inning.
I'm all about trying to string together hits and trying to get a big rally together. You got LeMahieu hit 312 on the season. I let him swing away.
Ellington thought he had a strike. Counts 2-1.
Stu Cole, third base coach for the Colorado Rockies. Came up with him in the Royals system in the minor leagues. Played with me at a couple different stops.
Buddy again, and that's a strike. So now the count's 2-2. You know, the Rockies, with all the home runs that are at their disposal and extra base hits at Coors Field, actually have a vast number more sacrifice bunts than their opponents, 26-14. And there's a base hit into right field. Stanton approaches, runner held, bags are loaded, and now Ellington's in pretty deep.
The old slash there. He squared around a bunt, pulls it back. He's hitting line drive to right field.
Juan Nieves on his way out. Mike Dunn is ready in the bullpen. You've got Arenado, Gonzalez, and Story, all with big home run numbers. Arenado 20, Gonzalez 15, Story with 18. Of course, Story is one of the home run hitters tonight. 7 runs total. All have come on solo homers. If the game ends this way, 4-3, it'll be an all-time record. Let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Yeah, a couple more on this front here. First time in Major League history, Rich, 5 solo homers hit in the first 1.5 innings of any game. And also the first time in Marlins history, 5 homers hit in the first 2 innings of a game.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right now, Ellington needs a ground ball or a strikeout. Arenado has a single and has bounced to third twice.
One of the stats that we like to go over on Marlins Live quite a bit, with nobody out and the bases loaded. Major League averages, they're going to score at least 1 run 86% of the time.
And getting a runner in from third with less than 2 outs. Arenado is below Major League average, which has been sitting about 50-51% in the last 4 or 5 years. That's foul. The strikeout, dialed up 98, and Arenado goes down.
That is just a tough pitch to get on top of. You see it there at the top of the strike zone. Pitch number 4. Big strikeout by Ellington. Now Don Mattingly's going to come out and make a change, bring Mike Dunn in to face Cargo.
So Dunn loosening. Ellington will go an inning and a third, and he leaves with the bags loaded. Marlins will make a double switch. Justin Bour on his way out. And Mike Dunn coming in. West Kendall Toyota, call to the bullpen. theme here. 4-game sweeps in this series. All-time in 4-game series, 22 sweeps for the Rockies. For the Marlins, 10 sweeps in a 4-game series. 8 times at home, but never here in this ballpark. Marlins had a 4-game sweep in Los Angeles, of all places. Mike Dunn, Carlos Gonzalez, bases loaded, 1-run game. First pitch swinging, and Gonzalez swings through it. Looked like a little bit of a slider from Dunn at 87 miles an hour.
Gonzalez, a .250 hitter on the season against left-handed pitching, 5 home runs.
Dunn has been bitten twice by homers, and both have been left-handed hitters in just the 12 at-bats that he's faced. Infield's looking for 2. Corners are in. Remember, it's Bohr now at first base. Kind of a role reversal for Don Mattingly, isn't it? Bringing Bohr in the double switch, but the Marlins actually in a position where they need some offense, so that kind of works out. Real Muto took the brunt of that one.
As the courtesy when a foul ball comes off the catcher's mask, umpire will go out to talk to the pitcher for a few seconds and let JT kind of get his senses back.
I always like it when the umpire leans down to brush off home plate and it's perfectly clean, but courtesy.
As he's talking to the catcher, hey, you all right back there? Mike Dunn get that velocity back up. Missed a good part of 2 months at the beginning of the season, the forearm strain. First couple outings, as to be expected, saw his velocity down for what we were accustomed to with Mike Dunn. Now getting back up that mid-90s fastball that we see so often from him.
2-2. That's in, and right now velocity is not the key. Command is. Count is full to Gonzalez, who will strike out. He's a guy that likes to swing it, but he can do damage when he gets a hold of it. Slider. That was the first pitch of the at bat, was the slider. Dunn seems to have better command of this pitch than the fastball.
Good thing it was a high velocity pitch, 87 miles an hour. That was a good spot in the strike zone to take a swing at. Carlos Gonzalez a little bit behind it. Let's see if he goes back with it.
Got him! How about that? Went with the fastball and threw it by him. And got some help on what should have been ball 4 and should have been a Rockies run.
Yeah, way up out of the strike zone. Mike Dunn climbing the ladder here on a fastball. Boy, the bases loaded and you just barely miss a hittable pitch. You get kind of fired up, and he was just a little too anxious.
Now it's Story. Solo homer in the second. Dunn overthrowing, and it's 1-0. The Rockies have loaded the bases. Brian Ellington, a walk, then a bunt single, and then a single to right. Ellington struck out Arenado. That was the last hitter he faced. Dunn in to face Gonzalez, struck him out, and he's fallen behind Story. now has 18 home runs on the season.
Now you're looking at Story and his ranks amongst National League rookies. Coming into tonight, 4th in average, 2nd in hits, 1st in home runs, and 1st in RBIs. Of course, made history on opening up his major league career this year at with the Rockies. 7 home runs first week. Slowed down a little bit, but still displaying huge power.
Hard hit, Echeverria to second and time with Dietrich getting there. Take that 86% and put it away, because the Marlins escape a bases loaded, nobody out spot, and it's still 4-3. Team, I can just see.
Go ahead, finish that thought. What could you see?
I could just see us needing more energy at this point in the game.
If we could tap in to her, some of her energy, I think we'd be good for the rest of the night.
In Miami tonight, this is still a major league record in terms of where this score sits. Now the game would have to end either at this score or hit another solo homer or 2, actually, for the Marlins to do it. Chad Qualls comes in. 7 runs, 7 solo homers. The major league record for most solo homers accounting for all runs in a game is 5. The trick is it has to end all solo homers. Marlins aren't worried about that. They just like a run or 2. Qualls throws a strike, changes to an outs. Would be Brandon Barnes in left field. Echeverria, remember Bohr came in the double switch, so he's up second. And then Ichiro. Someone from Miami's dugout was upset. You could hear Ron Kulpa say it was almost right down the middle. And it was. Edge, left center field. That's a base hit. Racing forward is Blackman, and he slides to get it. And Echeverria settles for a double. That's a nice play by Blackman, because that had triple written all over it if it gets by. But for Echeverria, a leadoff double.
Yeah, Blackman, one of the Rockies defenders. Better Rockies defender. See here, wow, what a great play, kept that off. If that gets by him, goes all the way to the wall. Probably an easy triple for Danny Echeverria. Well, Weiss going with the matchup here. Lefty coming out of the bullpen faced Justin Bohr.
Chad Qualls, we hardly knew ye. Couple pitches, and he's done. Pitching change for the Rockies. West Kendall Toyota called to the bullpen. Justin Bour gets the at-bat, and he won't face Chad Qualls. He will face one of the better lefties in middle relief in the National League. And that's Boone Logan, who is eating up lefties this year. 4 for 40 are left-handed hitters against Logan. And if you're Justin Bour right now, obviously you'd love to drive in this run, but even contact to the right side would work. The Rockies have a shift on, though not a severe one. Echeverria, the runner, at second. Breaking ball for a strike. Sometimes you have a good week, sometimes you have a good month, sometimes you have 2 good months.
That would constitute 2 good months. Hasn't given up a run.
Second longest active streak of scoreless innings in the National League, and that breaking ball quickly has him out in front of Bour.
Yeah, you can see why this is a tough at bat for the lefties. Logan kind of strides right toward the hitter, but throws across his body. It's pretty tough to pick up.
That was quick, wasn't it? 3 pitches. And down goes Bour. So 1 out, and here is Ichiro, and this is a true test for the future Hall of Famer, who hits lefties well. Has actually hit them for a better average than righties in his career. But we just showed you the overpowering numbers of Logan. 4 for 41 are lefties this year. That's below 100. Slider strike. Rockies have a right-hander ready. You got Martin Prado on deck. There's the career splits. 0 for 2 with a walk is Ichiro. Tried to sneak a fastball in the mix.
That's a pretty amazing split there. You got 20 points higher for a lefty off a lefty. Traditionally, that's the weak point. Much stronger against right-handed pitching than you would left-handed pitching, because simply you haven't seen it. There aren't too many lefties in the league.
It's out. It's 2-1. Close and late. Ichiro's name has popped up on a lot of lists this year. You've talked about Yelich, 7th inning or later, 2 runs or less. Didn't offer, and it's outside as 3-1.
Ichiro, very unique batting style. You've probably never seen anyone in the major leagues hit like this. I know I couldn't hit like this. He's got so many moving parts, and to be able to take a pitch like that, I think is almost as impressive as being able to hit like he does, almost running out of the box.
See if he gets a fastball here. Nope, slider, and it's a strike. And it was a strike. And
well in the strike zone.
Yeah, and you saw the previous pitch, pitch 4 that he took, was out.
See, he sticks with a slider here.
It was a steady slider diet and strikeout of Bohr. The 3-2 here. Slider low, and Ichiro walks. Well, the most important thing there is that Ichiro is going to get Logan out of the game, you would think. And yeah, Walt Weiss is on the step and he's on his way out. So just to get on base against this guy and force the right-hander in to face PRADO, of course you've got Ozuna after that, feels like a moral victory for the Fish. 2 walks for Ichiro tonight. Logan exits, Castro's in, West Kendall Toyota called to the pen. Homers in this one. Before we get back to the field, remember the fantasy auction is coming up on Thursday night. The pledge pack that we purchased the other night, we've been filling it with goodies. We got a Nolan Arenado autographed baseball. We got 2 custom Nike undershirts from the Marlins clubhouse. You can't get those on the street. Those are going in. And today, my friend Jeff Conine provided this. It is a Andre Dawson Hall of Fame signed baseball. So that's going in the Super Duper pledge pack. And we will auction that off on Thursday as well. And there's more to come.
More good stuff to come.
That's right.
The Super Duper pledge pack.
That's right. You should have seen this guy signing all his bobbleheads today. It's a nice shot of him on Twitter. Now PRADO. Echeverria at second. Ichiro at first. Castro delivers and misses. And it's 1-0. 98 miles an hour with that fastball. Miguel Castro threw the pitch that Marcell Ozuna hit 421 feet for a 3-run homer yesterday. And he nearly takes the left arm off of Nick Hundley with that fastball. He had to wrestle that one to the ground.
99 on the gun there. You mentioned Ichiro at first base. Logan Boone, lefty specialist, has only walked 2 out of 41 lefties that he had seen this year.
That's amazing. Ichiro works the walk. Castro readies himself. PRADO, little ground ball. Reynolds, one there and out there. The Rockies get a double play, 3-6-1. With Castro getting to first and the Marlins fizzling in the 7th. Still 4-3. Jose Fernandez, Bud Norris. Jose 9-3, a 2.57. 118 strikeouts. Braves have been hot. In fact, they went into New York and swept the Mets. Atlanta's won 5 straight. It's just a brief 2-game series, and they'll play 2 games within 24 hours. Tuesday night and then Wednesday at noon.
Jose Fernandez is probably chomping at the bit to get back on the mound. They skipped the start last time out to keep him on his innings limit for the year.
Be interesting to see how he looks after that skipped start. Dustin McGowan takes over for Mike Dunn. Rockies finally have a run against Miami's bullpen. First at bat for Brandon Barnes.
McGowan came in relief of Wei-Yin Chen. Second game of this series and bridged the gap with 2 2/3 outstanding innings. Being able to get the Marlins deep into that game where they eventually won 9-6.
Dietrich. McGowan's work lately really has deepened Miami's pen. Not just in that last appearance. He's had 4 scoreless appearances. And adding them up, almost 8 innings, 7 2/3 innings. Yes, Yusmeiro Petit is facing Kershaw. Steven Strasburg scratched with an upper back spasm. Mark Reynolds fouls it off. It was Reynolds that homered against Ellington in the 6th. Of course, he homered against Clemens in the 2nd. And he's walked, so he's 2 for 2 with a walk.
pretty remarkable. The power arms coming out of the bullpens nowadays. You got the Marlins, Ellington touching 100 a couple times on the scoreboard gun. McGowan coming out here 96, 97 miles an hour. Mike Dunn 95 miles an hour. On the other side, Castro hit 100 on the stadium gun. It's just remarkable how the evolution of velocity in the major leagues has increased. 15 years ago, it would be rare to see one or two guys coming out of the bullpen that would throw 95 or higher. We're facing the Chicago White Sox. Years ago, they had 4 guys in their bullpen that threw 95 plus, and it was just like an aberration. We couldn't believe we didn't want to face that bullpen ever. Now it seems like everybody's got a bullpen full of guys like that.
Where do you think this game will be in 10 or 15 years? Is it going to be a bunch of Aroldis Chapmans? Are we going to see triple digits from multiple guys out of pens?
I think it's trending toward that way.
Will elbow ligaments
continue to explode like they have been? I mean, it's remarkable how many pitchers this year have gone under the knife in the last few years. We've seen our own Carter Capps last year throwing that triple-digit fastball. Had Tommy John surgery this spring, and hopefully is on the road to recover. We'll see him sometime late next year.
Hundley, it's a foul ball. Count 0-1. 7 runs, 7 home runs, 7 solo home runs, 7 runs. It has never happened in baseball history where a game has ended with this many solo home runs accounting for every run of the game.
Marcell Ozuna, 2 of those home runs.
Reynolds has 2. Hundley and Story have the other homers for the Rockies, and Giancarlo Stanton is the other one for Miami. Marlins in the 8th have Ozuna, Stanton, and the pitcher spot coming up. Nick Hundley. Fastball just misses up.
Justin Mott in the bullpen. The Cardinals.
The Motter.
Formed that power back into the Cardinals bullpen for a few years with Trevor Rosenthal.
Marlins with a lot of power arms out of their pen. 2 strikeouts from McGowan, a scoreless 8th. Ozuna and Stanton coming up. AT&T high-speed replay. All right, you want a home run? First inning. Marcell Ozuna, that's a home run. His second in 2 games. Right behind him, Giancarlo Stanton. Now the Marlins thought they were off to a good start, and they were. The Rockies would hit 3 solo homers the next half inning. Ozuna would hit a solo homer to tie it. The Rockies got a Mark Reynolds solo shot at the 6th and have a 4-3 lead. And it's Jason Mott who is in for the Rockies. On the disabled list to start the season with a shoulder strain. Mott throws hard. Fastball, a strike.
Those 2 solo homers tonight. Marcell Ozuna is the first career multi-homer game.
That's amazing. What was Mark Reynolds? Like his 23rd?
Outside.
23rd, yes.
Ball and a strike. And Mott out front 1-2. It seems to have toned down his beard a bit. In St. Louis, it was a little fluffier. Now there's a few strands of gray in there. A little wiser, a little older. Mott spent last year with the Cubs and had an 8-1 record, but an ERA of close to 4 and 57 relief appearances. 6 years a Cardinal. He was a very good postseason pitcher for St. Louis. 2.08 ERA. Appearing in 19 postseason games. And Ozuna able to extend the at-bat now to 3-2.
See him take that slider down in the dirt, not even offering at it. His pitch recognition this year, I think, is a huge part to why he's been so successful.
That one outside corner.
That's a pretty good pitch by Jason Mott. 95 miles an hour right here in the outside corner. Freezes Marcell Ozuna, and he knew it.
Stanton now. 2 more hits for Giancarlo in a series where Stanton has come back to life. He has 8 hits, including his 13th homer of the season. Mott picking on that outside corner again, this time with a breaking ball. It's 0-1.
Right there. Can't get much more perfect than that. Yeah, Stanton last week, probably the lowest point of the season at 193 average. Has brought up to 217. 4-game hitting streak. Here against the Colorado Rockies, hitting .533.
Slider away, you'd expect. Fastball up and no swing.
That was the 0-2 show me pitch. See if he goes back to that slider down and away here.
Fastball and threw it by him. That was pretty simple for Mott.
Power versus power. Giancarlo might have been looking or had slider on his mind. That ball is by him.
Christian Yelich will hit against Mott. And Yelich takes a fastball for a strike. 2 outs. Yelich getting the night off until now. The Marlins had to go to their bench early. Cole Gillespie hit in the 5th. Yelich takes up. Justin Bour came in a double switch. So he's already in the game. It hit him. Well, there's a couple things. It gets Real Muto to the plate, but it also puts a guy on probably the Marlins' best base stealing threat with 2 outs. Just clipped the leg of Yelich.
My goodness, that's in an area that if you hit in the side of that knee, the 95-mile-an-hour fastball, that could do some damage.
So Yelich at first. Real Muto doubled his last time up. Outfield towards right center.
Marlins not much of a base stealing team. As you said, Christian Yelich, one of the few threats that they have on the base paths, only on the year. Have 18 stolen bases, been caught 10 times.
6 of the 18 are D. Gordon bags. Most of the bases lately have been Ichiro stolen bases. Ichiro's got what, 5? Fastball up. There's not a lot of mystery with Mott, is it? I mean, he just rears back and brings it.
Six for Ichiro on the year.
All right, so a dozen of the 18 between Gordon and Ichiro. 1-2. JT stays alive.
You're wondering when the last stolen base was for the Marlins. June 7th at Minnesota. And they've had 1 stolen base in the last 15 games. Look at it in terms of the National League, only New York and St. Louis have fewer stolen bases than the Marlins.
Yelich runs, pitches up, throw down to second, and he's safe. Yelich gets the bag. He's in scoring position. Hundley calls timeout, not to talk to the pitcher. I would expect to buy a little time for the replay review as the Rockies are looking at it. Looks like he's there.
Good slide. You see him going back to the back part of the bag, so the defender has a longer sweep tag to get to it. Good base running there.
An opportunity here, although Real Muto's sitting on a 2-2 count against Mott, who looks like he's got his best stuff.
Good swing by JT. Yeah, like you said, Rich, Mott rare and backing throwing. I don't think he really pays too much attention to base runners. Christian Yelich saw that opportunity and stole the bag. Now in scoring position with the tying run.
Real Muto fought off a really nice fastball. 2-2 coming here again. Another fastball. Now you said nice swing as a card-carrying member of the Hitters Guild. Why was that a nice swing, even though it yielded a foul ball?
When you look at timing on a fastball of that caliber, you're looking at contact point, and if it's fouled straight back, and that means he's right on time with a good quick swing. And you know, obviously he didn't square it up, but you still like the pass that he made at the baseball.
Mott is really a stubborn guy, and he's not going to throw anything but that fastball, at least not yet. Look at the fastballs in this at bat, 8 of them, and he's climbing in velocity.
That last one, probably the best pitch of the at bat, and JT did a good job of fouling that one off.
Breaking ball, and Real Muto just missed it. Barnes has it, and Miami is done in the 8th. 4-3 still, Rockies. Fox Sports Florida, brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Dodge, visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. By your South Florida Honda dealers. Marlins Park all lit up. Right now, 7 runs, 7 solo home runs. That's the night for the hitters in this ball game tonight. Nick Wittgren is on the mound. Marlins bullpen has been not perfect, but pretty darn good. Compiling 3 innings with 1 run. They had gone 13 scoreless in this series before that Mark Reynolds home run against Brian Ellington. And that's the difference in the ball game. The 7th solo homer made it 4-3 Colorado. Daniel Descalso, Charlie Blackmon, DJ LeMahieu. Descalso pinch hitting here against Wittgren. Descalso fouls it back and out of play. Busted his hands in spring training and has really swung the bat well since he's come back and has been healthy. You can see his numbers through 18 games. Wittgren misses out. Descalso yesterday walked 3 times. It's 1-2. That's Ichiro in pursuit. And it's just beyond his reach.
look at the Marlins bullpen tonight. Like you said, only blemish off Brian Ellington is that solo home run to give Colorado the lead. But Dustin McGowan has been lights out over his last 5 appearances. He's only given up 1 hit.
That's multiple innings.
Through 8 innings.
Two and two. Wickren trying to get this ball game to the bottom of the 9th and keep it 4-3. Descalso fouls it back. Second year with the Rockies. Got to the big leagues with the Cardinals.
Postseason hero for those Cardinals. A lot of big hits.
Struck him out.
Doesn't like the call. We will check it out here. Change up right at the top of the zone. Pitch number 8.
One of the differences for the Rockies in this game, in comparison to the first 3, is these 2 guys, top of the order, Blackman and LeMahieu, have been getting some hits and getting on. They opened the series, did these 2. That would be Blackman, LeMahieu on deck. 1 for 27, and they've gone 4 for their last 4.
Marlins pitchers, though, have been stingy in letting them get around the bases, since we are still looking at a major league record tonight with 7 solo home runs. Nobody else has scored via a base hit or a walk.
If you're just tuning in or surfing channels and popping in and out of games, the major league record for most solo homers accounting for every run in a game is 5. Well, the Marlins have hit 3, the Rockies have hit 4, but the game's not complete yet, so it's not a record yet. One, 2.
Five of those solo homers coming within about 10 minutes of each other in the bottom of the first and top of the second. It was like it was shell shock all of a sudden.
It was like a fireworks show that had the grand finale first. You know?
Yeah.
That one is launched to right, and it's deep, but it's foul. That could have added to the total. Nationals and Dodgers are underway. As we noted, Steven Strasburg scratched from that start. Kershaw going for the Dodgers. Center field hit pretty well. Back goes Ozuna in the triangle, and it's gone. 8 solo homers in this ball game. Unbelievable. And it's 5-3 Colorado. His mom and dad are here. Charlie Blackmon homering with 1 out in the 9th. 8 runs, 8 solo homers. 5 by the Rockies. Blackman's first of the night, 8th of the season.
Got that fastball elevated there. And boy, that ball was put a charge into. We did set a record here on that home run though, Rich. Regardless, that is the 8th home run of this game and the most home runs ever hit in a single game at Marlins Park.
Bouncer into left. LeMahieu has a hit. So these two, the law firm of Blackman and LeMahieu, opened this series going 1 for 27, and they are 6 for 6 since.
Marlins bullpen quiet.
Nolan Arenado pops that one back and out of play.
Talk about Arenado. Obviously, you talk about defense, and he has made a couple plays tonight and in this series that illustrate why he is the best defensive third baseman in the game. His counterpart Martin PRADO has had a pretty good defensive series as well. You look at their fielding percentages. Arenado #1, Martin PRADO #2 in the National League. Only 3 errors between them in 132 games this year.
And Arenado strikes out. Here's the wild thing about him. He was a catcher in high school.
Wow.
He's a modern day Brooks Robinson.
Indeed.
Brooks Robinson was so good that he's been the gold standard for almost.
I believe he holds the record for most Gold Gloves by a position player. 15.
Well, I can't confirm that, but I can tell you that our research department, pitch misses out. Our research department indicates that there's been 3,227 feet of solo home run hit in this ballgame. That's StatCast. John Chimchuk. Didn't Jim Cott win more than 15 Gold Gloves though? But for a
Position player as well.
Position player.
Yeah, I believe Jim Cott won 18.
Maddox won. All right. Let's go to the. I don't know if Maddox caught Kitty or not. 2-0 pitch. PRADO, nifty underhand. Echeverria covering in time. Another solo homer. 8 solo homers in this ballgame. To the bottom of the ninth, it's 5-3 Colorado. statistically. And it arrives in the bottom of the ninth. 5 runs, 12 hits for the Rockies. The Marlins with their 3 runs. Every run has scored on a solo homer. And the Rockies able to trot out their closer for the first time in this series. Carlos Estevez, or Wild Thing as he's going by. At least that's the music that he enters to, because he has a tendency to at times get a little wild. He's got 3 consecutive saves. He's not allowed a base runner in all 3. And it's appropriate that a guy who comes into Wild Thing and got to meet and greet and take photos with Charlie Sheen would face a kid from Cleveland and Derek Dietrich to open up the ninth.
And since we've been on the topic of velocity, Estevez 99 and 98 his first 2 pitches out of the gate.
Echeverria on deck. That was 98. Remember, Justin Bour's in the 9th spot, so he's due up 3rd. 99. That was by him. He got a piece of it. But a strikeout for Estevez.
Boy, talk about just rearing back and throwing as hard as you can. I don't really think that location is much of a concern from Mr. Estevez. He's just trying to throw it through a wall.
Echeverria doubled his last time up. That is moving. It's 0-1. Carlos Estevez, 23 years old, Dominican Republic. His minor league career is littered with strikeouts. Been in the Rockies organization since 2011. Edge gets a piece of 99.
Big long arm action. I'm going to say it's a little difficult to pick it up as well, even though it's coming at that speed. Boy, I think he hides it pretty well.
Checkers brings you Marlins Live. It's coming up. Go into the Marlins clubhouse. Etch stays alive. It's 0-2. You saw the note, home run derby. 5 for the Rockies, 3 for the Marlins. Fish would love to get Bour to the plate with a runner on. After Bour, Ichiro due up 4th this inning.
Let's put together a pretty good at bat here. 98 miles an hour, 99 miles an hour. You don't have a whole lot of recognition time in the strike zone. If you recall, I believe it was Echeverria had a single off of Aroldis Chapman that was a 102-mile-an-hour pitch.
It's going to reach the seats.
But at the time, I thought was the only single that had been recorded off a pitch that fast. So we know Etch can catch up to it.
Check swing, no swing.
First non-fastball. That's a good take by Echeverria after you've seen 98 and 99s to be able to hold up on a 90-mile-an-hour changeup. That's impressive.
You would think fastball here. This is quite an at bat. mean, for a guy that's blowing 98, 99, he's had to fight off a lot of good pitches here. Nine-pitch at bat, number 10 on the way.
See if that's going to win the battle right here.
3-2. Edge into center. That's a base hit. 98 miles an hour, and Echeverria sent it right back. And so the Marlins do get bored of the plate.
Well, you can just see with each progressive fastball, each swing, each foul ball, that Etch was getting a little better timing on all of them. Took a couple good ones away. Really good take on a 2-2 changeup. And just squares up this 98 down the middle. Good piece of hitting by Echeverria.
Came in at 98. It went out 102. Now Bohr. They don't call him Wild Thing. He didn't come into that song for nothing. So he's fallen behind 1-0. And Bohr had his rip.
Good swing.
A ball and a strike. Justin Bohr steps out. Bohr struck out against the lefty Boone Logan. That was back in the 7th. This is the third reliever since Logan. Miguel Castro, Jason Mott, and now Carlos Estevez. Bouncer up the middle, and this should end it. And the Rockies salvage the 4th game of the series. A major league record here tonight at Marlins Park. 8 solo homers. The most solo homers in a major league game where all the runs are accounted for by those home runs. 8 of them. The old record, 5. So the Rockies and the Marlins combined to better the major league record by 3 solo homers. All of the other numbers and notes from this game coming up on Marlins Live.